Hello and welcome back to. Wait, is this mic on? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Welcome back to Inside the Apex, our F1 podcast. Of course, my name's Robin and I'm still joined by these lovely guys, Sid, Corey, and Matt. Say hello.
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 We had a week off because we were busy, but now we're back to cover the Brazilian Grand Prix that was last week. Now it's, we have a week off, so we might as well fill some time to talk about it. So it was the last sprint of the season.
Thank God.
So yeah.
Thank you, Jesus H. Christ.
I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it's interesting. I'm not sure if teams, just a quick little aside before we get right into it, do you think teams change up strategies because you kind of get two different two qualifyings, right? You get the normal qualifying on Friday, then you get the shootout. Do you think teams just learn from it, or is it just more luck based? Because I saw from this qualifying to the shootout there was a bit of a mix up of teams doing better and worse. Obviously Aston doing better in the qualifying, worse in the shootout. So yeah, I'm not sure. You think it's just a bit of luck or a bit of?
I think it's a lot of factors. Especially, luck plays a good amount in it as well, and also track conditions. But it can go good for some teams on one day and then go terribly wrong the next. So like we saw with Aston Martin. So I'm not sure actually. I don't think there's a scientific reasoning to it. But
Yeah, I think teams probably try to learn, but there's also going to be some randomization in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's always unpredictability.
Yeah.
Well, I think they put less effort into sprint races because they don't care as much, for 8 points. Especially if it's the last one and Max has already won everything. Why would you try so hard on the final one?
Yeah, a little bit more of a extra practice session kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
true.
and maybe because, you're at near the end of the season, you don't want to, make any big mistakes or, ruin the car, because then it's that extra cost for no reason, because the season's about to end and you don't want to cost the team any extra expenses going into that off-season, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I'm pretty sure everyone started focusing on their 2024 car now. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, we might as well get into the qualifying. Obviously, I feel like the big thing was those big dark clouds coming at the end of Q3.
Good
And
photos though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool photos. Yeah.
But that basically meant that Aston Martin got pretty lucky. Of course, they got into Q3, which the past few races, they haven't been hot at all, and it was a big turnaround for them. And the rain and the clouds basically meant they got third and fourth. And
to be fair, they did look quick all weekend. So I don't think it was just purely.
And in the race, they had decent pace.
They had us dunking on them for 3 weeks running, and they've decided to be good again.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. I think I read somewhere. I think they removed all the upgrades that they got the last few weekends, and then suddenly the car was good
That's
again.
tragic.
But Aston Martin was on form.
Yeah.
I would say luck was obviously involved on Saturday as well. On Friday for qualifying. But yeah, then we saw how it went terribly wrong on Saturday. So
Yeah, and I feel like Aston Martin or McLaren rather had the opposite story of Aston Martin. They had the main qualifying for the race. They got it wrong. They went out too late when the rain was starting to come. You saw Piastri on that last corner just spun out.
he spun. Yeah.
And he just maintained that speed thinking it was dry, and when you hit a wet spot you're just gone, and
Yeah, exactly.
just unfortunate. But then in the sprint they did well, and Aston Martin didn't in that shootout, so it sort of a bit mirrors that sort of thing. Other than that, Leclerc got second, obviously. Obviously, he got that failure in the race, but he's keeping up that qualifying performance. And
if
Only
that
that
counts for some-
qualifying performance.
only the qualifying performance. Yeah. But no, we've had. Ferrari is having a lot of hydraulic issues nowadays. We saw with Carlos Sainz in Mexico as well, where he had a hydraulics failure in free practice. So they need that. They need to sort that out.
Yeah.
They need to sort out so much.
Yeah, no, especially because they're in the battle for P2 in the constructors, and all of these races count for a lot. And especially this weekend when Mercedes was on such weak form, they could have gotten
It was
a lot
big-
of points.
Yeah.
On,
a big chance
on
to
Merc.
catch up, definitely.
Yeah, and I was thinking
What
about
to
this.
say?
I think on the last episode, me and Matt were saying how Mercedes are dominant in Brazil. I think we may have jinxed them this
No,
this
you
year.
guys
Thanks.
definitely over.
I'm sorry.
Thanks,
I'm
guys.
I saw it online as well. Everyone was like, Hamilton
Yeah.
and Brazil, Lamau, like, where was he?
What
And
was actually going on with Mercedes? I didn't understand why they were going.
I think
Yeah,
they
it
just
was-
got their setup wrong. Like,
yeah,
I think-
probably. I think too
you wouldn't
much.
think that because they were so successful previous 2 years, they would have had the setup like sorted. But
I don't
they
know.
were
Yeah.
terrible this year.
I mean, their car is pretty different to how it has been.
Yeah,
To
true.
be
I
fair.
think it was just eating up its tires because on the starting laps they were doing pretty well. They were on
Mm.
par, but then as soon as the laps started going, their tires just went
Yeah.
off.
Mm.
I mean,
And they
obviously
had
we'll
no
get into
pace.
it, but I remember there was a time where Russell and Hamilton, they were fighting hard, and then it was like, I can't remember how many laps in, but it was like 2/3 into the race, they were just on tire management mode.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
then they couldn't attack, and then they just stayed on their positions.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, interesting the sprint, I remember, because, this morning I was just refreshing my brain on the race, haven't seen it in a week, and that weird Ocon-Alonso crash in the shootout.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
In the first, the shootout one, or whatever they
Mm.
call it nowadays, I don't know,
Yeah.
where Ocon just, he's on an out lap, or he's on a lap, and he just flies on the left side of Alonso and just clips his left front. I mean,
What's with Ocon and those set of corners? I mean, he
Yeah,
can never get
literally.
them right.
he loves just, I don't know. Yeah, so that was a weird one, and and AlphaTauri did really well in the sprint shootout as well. They got into Q2, Q3,
Oh yeah.
and other than that, Lando got the pole for the
Lando
sprint.
did, yeah. He was as surprised
Was
as
that
we
like
were.
9,000th or something? It was close.
It was
but,
close, yeah. I mean,
yeah, great qualifying or shootout qualifying, and apart from that, we can go into that sprint race where Lando got pole, but Max just straight away just
Did what
got-
he does best.
just
Yeah,
got ahead
yeah.
of him, and I mean Lando didn't fight too hard, I guess, and then just the second Max is ahead, he just pulls
mean,
ahead really.
Mm.
For the
yeah,
rest of the
Lando
sprint.
knew that was going to happen sometime, so.
So,
Yeah.
But interestingly, for the sprint and I'm pretty sure for the race, everyone was on softs, which leads to fun and like aggressive starts of races, which I
Yeah.
like. So I like when races allow for the cars to start on softs
Yeah.
because it allows the drivers to be more aggressive on that first, couple laps before DRS opens up, and you see a lot of drivers looking to overtake or trying to put off their opponent, and I just like it more when they're on softs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we saw a lot of good battles out there, especially in the sprint and the race as well.
Yeah.
But it's really nice to see some close fighting. And you mentioned AlphaTauri. I would like to bring that out. That AlphaTauri is doing really, really well nowadays.
Yeah.
They got
And-
points in
yeah,
the
and
actual race.
I was
as well.
wondering why that was, and I happened to come about a post on Twitter that said that AlphaTauri has borrowed the dynamics of the rear suspension from the RB19. So
Yeah.
and this
Oh,
is
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
in Singapore. So that's how we know that's why AlphaTauri is doing well. And obviously next year they're basing their whole car on the RB19. I think AlphaTauri could do
Should be a
really
bit
well.
controversial.
Yeah.
It is really controversial, but then
Really controversial, but it will probably be quite a fast car.
yeah, it
Yeah.
will be really fast. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, hearing that, I think it gives Yuki a good chance to, because he has been, I think he's a good driver, and I
Yeah,
think.
but he's nothing more than good though, is he?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's still sort of just. He shows some promise, and then he just makes some key mistakes that just
Yeah.
holds him back a bit.
I feel like he still makes rookie mistakes quite often.
Yeah.
if you
he
know what I
does.
mean.
He does. Yeah,
And
but
he
then
uses his temper quite a bit still.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. That's
but
true.
I don't mind. I don't mind that. I think it's like I think it's like a funny radio moment. Also, I feel like Yuki gets dunked on quite a lot for it, where Verstappen gets like praised for it.
What, like getting mad on the radio?
Yeah, like Verstappen gets mad on the radio all the time, and everyone's like, "Haha, that's so funny." And then Yuki, and they're like, "He's so childish," and you're like, "I mean, okay, like yeah, but
I mean-
they all are. They're
I mean, but
professional
Yeah.
athletes."
I mean, every driver get like Norris.
Yeah.
It's just I think it's just like if you like that driver or not, you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
also I think there's like definitely something about they're all professional athletes that care a lot about their racing, so they're probably all
Yeah,
going to.
I mean, it reminds me of that, old, what was it, where the drivers all get interviewed and Vettel was saying like, oh, imagine if like a football player or something had like a mic like all the time.
Yeah.
It's so true.
That's
It's
true,
like,
that's
like I don't really mind when drivers get heated or mad, like when another driver hits them or does a risky overtake or move and almost ruins their race, because they're spending the whole week building up to Sunday and qualifying, and don't forget the free practices and then all the training, and then lap 1 someone hits you in the back, of course you're gonna be mad,
It's like,
right?
and you
Yeah.
want drivers to care about it.
100%. You want that passion. You don't just want something like,
Obviously.
a guy spins you and no reaction. Like, what is that? Like,
He just says, okay.
I always think it's a little bit of a downer when in the interviews afterwards they're like, yeah, it was a racing incident. You're like, yeah, it was, but be madder about it. Come on, man.
Yeah.
The bottom line is we don't want 20 Kimi Räikkönens on the grid.
Yeah, one was fine.
Yeah, one was just good.
But Kimi's different, He has his charm, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like,
That's true.
he wasn't. Yeah. So.
One Kimi Räikkönen is great.
Yes.
Many Kimi Räikkönens
Räikkönens.
gets a bit boring, I
Yes,
think.
that's
yeah.
true.
Do you need some hot-headed drivers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely.
Well, talking about spinning and crashing, did you see Albon getting hit into Magnussen?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, of course,
let's
on the
let's
opening,
let's go
yeah.
on to the race directly and the start. Yeah, that was eventful. The start was really eventful.
Yeah. Obviously, Leclerc had that. What was that failure?
Oh,
Suspension?
Hydraulic
It was
Hydraulic,
hydraulic, so he
yeah.
lost power
So
steering.
he had that. Yeah, he had that hydraulic failure. Goes into the wall, and then there's this massive gap, right,
Yeah,
of
yeah.
second place. And so Norris had this amazing launch from.
Oh, my man
what,
Norris.
what position did he start from? Fifth.
He started
fifth.
sixth, but then with Leclerc out, he needed to overtake I think 4
Right.
cars to get to second.
But he only needed to overtake Stroll on that inside line, and then he had
Yeah.
that gap right there. So
He
could
did, yeah.
slot. He basically slid into where Leclerc's meant to be. He slid into that second spot for that first left-hander, and he just got that second place. And that
Yeah, what a god start.
Yeah.
great
And
move. And
yeah, both Aston Martin got off to a pretty bad start, I would say,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Hamilton was on their tail and Lando overtook them, and it was both of them. It wasn't just Stroll or Alonso. So, yeah.
yeah, not the best start for Aston. Amazing start for Norris, which puts him up to second.
Yeah.
And then of course.
And then Hamilton overtook both the Aston Martins as well.
yeah,
He did,
Mm.
yeah.
he
And
had a
then
battle there.
yeah, and then into turn 4, Alonso and Hamilton were fighting it
Yeah.
out, and yeah, that was brilliant.
That was
Yeah,
great
that was
battling,
great.
but of course, when Matt mentioned that spin, that crash, I see this a lot in a lot of races where you're either 3 wide or you're 2 wide, and then a car comes on the outside,
Yeah.
so the middle car gets squeezed and he
yeah.
has nowhere to go,
Yeah.
and then someone's getting screwed basically.
Yeah.
Someone's
Yeah.
getting
A lot of the time, multiple people are getting screwed.
so someone's getting clipped there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just so happens.
I mean, but you can't
it wasn't
avoid it.
even. It wasn't. Wait, who got out there? I think it was like Magnussen, but
Yeah,
he wasn't that inside car. He was the car behind, and he gets hit by Albon on the on the way in.
Yeah, it was
So-
both the Haas's and Albon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was just
Terrible
unfortunate.
start for Haas. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, of course.
And then unfortunately, was it Daniel got rear wing down?
Yeah, and Piastri
wheel-
as well,
Piastri,
right?
The
yeah.
wheel flew back, hit
Yeah.
Ricardo's back wing.
Yeah.
It was written in his
And
cards to get that wheel.
Yeah.
He
So-
tried so hard to avoid it, but
I
then
mean, but he didn't retire, but he didn't
Yeah.
really.
But Piastri.
He could have finished much higher if he
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I wanted to see Piastri in
Yeah.
normal race pace as well, but then he
Oh
got
yeah,
hit.
what happened to Piastri?
He got hit in that crash.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
at the
yeah.
rear. So his
Yeah.
rear plate was broken and his
So-
diffuser.
Yeah, he had
a
to
lot.
retire,
Yeah,
didn't he?
so a lot on
No,
the
he
start.
Yeah, no, Piastri. They fixed his car in the red flag.
Oh
And
yeah,
then-
I thought
yeah.
he was retiring, and
No,
then
no, no,
he was
so
just
it
like a
was-
lap down for the
No,
whole race.
yeah, it was both the Aussies at the back of the grid.
Mhm.
So it's
So,
quite tragic.
Yeah. And that just a lot of cars damaged, so then couldn't compete. But then you had the restart, and then it just led to restarts are always exciting. I like them, and then it just leads to a lot more fights, and
Yeah.
it was just between Oh yeah. So Alonso on the restart. So Hamilton on the initial start of the race, he overtook
He
everyone and got
overtook,
third, but then
yeah.
Alonso came back on the restart.
Yeah.
And he fought a great battle with Hamilton, very back and forth, eventually getting that third place from him.
Yeah.
And the reason was, I remember, it was on one of the corners, Hamilton locked up, so he had a worse line coming into one of the straights. So then Alonso just gained so much speed and he could just overtake. You know, right after the start finish straight, you know, the second overtaking where a lot of the overtakes happened, just right there. So, you know, I think Alonso was very smart this race with. You saw every lap, the way his racing lines were.
Yeah, he was driving very well defensively.
Yeah, it was a bit of an Alonso masterclass.
Yeah. You could tell he was very comfortable with the track.
And that car was working with him, not against him. So.
Yeah, it's for the first time since like the start of the season.
Yeah. And so
I think we should talk about this, like how the Mercedes were feisty at the beginning, but then as soon as the race progressed, they just went back and down the tumbling order, and it was.
And then Russell retired.
And
right?
Russell on the radio, he was like, "Oh, are we working together? What is this?" He wanted Hamilton to, you know, stay back, give him that DRS maybe or something like that. He kept talking on the radio. No one was giving him an answer, and then eventually Perez just caught up to Russell, got him, wasn't much difficulty, and then eventually he caught up to Hamilton as well, and then obviously Russell retired later.
I mean, there was nothing Hamilton could do. We saw him getting overtaken by an Alpine of Gasly.
Oh, that Alpine overtake actually hurt me in the soul. Like, I know it was the car. I was just sat there like watching it like, oh god, a Mercedes being overtaken by an Alpine, and it looked so easy.
Yeah, the commentator said as well, we would be fascinated by an Alpine overtaking a Mercedes, but then we know this would happen in this race because they just had no pace.
The Mercedes just weren't there.
I mean, I'm not sure if it was just they fought too hard early on in the race, maybe, you know.
I don't think so. I think
it was just performance like the entire race.
Yeah, I think it was suited more towards qualifying. They didn't do well in qualifying either, but then.
But I mean, I think like the struggle of like a sprint weekend of having only one practice session to set up your car, it just couldn't manage its tires.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think Mercedes cares about this car anymore. They just want.
They just want just a bit done.
Yeah, they just want this. They just want this season to be done.
Same, Mercedes, same.
Well, to be fair, they have said that for like 2 years now, so
they
suck it up a little bit. Fix that car.
Yeah. We're fixing the car. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
It'll be better next season.
Hopefully not.
Shut up.
Still we rise.
Shut up, guys. Stop it.
And, you know, more pain for you, Corey. Lap 24 at this down joke when you retired.
I know.
I can't remember quite why.
I think his car just broke, man. I can't remember what broke, but I just remember.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I made sure to write that one.
It's one of the only notes I have.
I wrote down Joe retirement. Boo-hoo.
real bad day. I don't think he wasn't running in the points or anything. To be fair.
No, I mean.
Yeah, well, Bottas also retired, so they both.
Yeah, Alfa Romeo is so bad.
Haas and Alfa Romeo had a bad weekend.
Both
cars out.
I
want to say
Ferrari powered, by the way.
Yeah. But that Alfa Romeo is almost. The Alfa Romeos are almost underratedly bad. Like, no one quite realises how truly awful them cars are, but they're so bad.
They are really
like, because you just look at them and you go, backmarker team, and then you look at how much they break all the time.
Yeah,
and you're just like, what the hell?
They're getting bought out by 2026. Hopefully that should
help.
Audi.
Yeah, they are getting replaced by Audi, so I'm not sure how much sort of
improvement that brings.
Funding or you know.
I mean,
is Audi a works team? Are they making their own engines?
I don't know.
I think so.
I can't remember.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what's really tragic, guys? Audi is one of the teams when they were in Formula E, I hated the most.
Why did you hate them?
I just didn't like. I liked one of their drivers and didn't like the other one, so I hated the team because I thought they were mean to the one I did like.
All valid reasons.
You know when it's one of them.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
They didn't do anything to me.
Are they still in Formula E?
Not in the they don't have they're now apt. So because Audi left Formula E and then blah 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 blah.
Okay.
But yeah.
I mean,
they're still sort of there.
Yeah, but then it was strange to see there were only 14 finishers out of 20.
Ooh,
so
it was one of those races where it's like
just everyone's car decided
a lot of
to
cars,
and there was tight fighting as well amongst all of them.
I mean, I think it's because not only was it a sprint, but one of the you get to the end of the season and cars just start working. You know.
That's true. Yeah.
It's-
I mean, but it was exciting to see, especially someone challenging Max.
Yeah.
And Lando Norris. I mean, he wasn't
Definitely.
successful,
One of
but
the
then.
rare moments.
Yeah, I was so hyped for that. I was like, "Come on, Lando, you
Yeah.
can do it."
I was like, is that a car? Like,
Yeah.
you know, on
is
Max's
Max
butt?
is Max actually defending?
yeah. That was
And then 2 laps later, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's
but,
over. But
literally it's-
still,
I don't know if it's sad, like, you have to, like, write it down or, like, make a big note about, like, the fact, like, it's been a while since Max had to make, like, a defensive
move. Yeah.
Normally he just, you know, has to do the normal racing line.
Exactly.
and,
Yeah.
You know, so it's sort of, you know, this is why I wrote this down, because it reminds you of, like, how exciting it could be when there is that fight up front, when, you know, not when a car just pulls, you know, away, you know, now with Max and before with Hamilton when,
True.
you know, they start first or whatever and they just pull away into the sunset.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's way more fun when there's a car chasing or,
Yeah.
you know, you get that adrenaline and then that last lap, like, is he going to do it? And then, you know,
Well,
just-
Max and Lando may not have been able to do that, but Perez and Alonso certainly did on the
Yeah, I was
final.
about to
Yes.
say. Speaking of tight battles, Perez and
100%.
Alonso.
that was great.
Photo finish, 0.05
And-
seconds.
yeah. I mean, watching that, obviously, it looked like Perez got him, but it was interesting. I wrote this down where this was obviously finally one of the races where Perez had some pace,
He did. Yeah.
and it shows that, you know, I'm not sure if Perez, you know, obviously hasn't been doing well. It doesn't suit the car. It feels like if he had a different driver, there would have been a lot more 1-2s. And, you know, I thought about this. I was like, when was the last time Red Bull had a 1-2, or how many did they have this season? Last time, I'm pretty sure, was in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's been a while.
It has, yeah. That's like so wild because you think of like Mercedes dominance moments. It was like 1-2s every race,
Yeah.
and this year it's just like not.
Or it was like them trading wins, Bottas
Yeah.
and Hamilton.
Yeah.
I remember the start of the season in Australia, Bottas won and then Hamilton would win the next. And
Yeah.
even with Nico Rosberg, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
And so you'd think, you know, I'm not sure how important 1-2s are to teams, but, you know, it's still...
I think.
I mean,
I think
obviously,
if one person's always getting a 1, the other person should probably be getting 2s
Yeah.
quite a lot.
if
You
you're
know.
And
by far...
I don't think it matters, especially if Red Bull's won the constructors.
Oh,
just
yeah,
with
yeah.
Max himself.
Yeah, but...
That's true. Yeah, if Max was a constructor, he would have won himself.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
I
ridiculous.
can't get over that fact. But yeah, no, I mean, Perez, it was a slight return to form for Perez. Yeah, we saw that
But
battle.
he
I
should've-
thought he should have gotten
He
third
should've.
place. But the mighty Fernando Alonso.
But he should have just... Realistically, Perez, this race, he should have been second, you know? I mean...
Yeah.
Looking at the pace of the car, I mean, you could say this about every race, but
Yeah.
looking at the pace of the car and the way he was driving, I mean, you know, it should have been another 1-2 for Red Bull, and you know, he gets fourth, and I'm not sure if Horner or Red Bull sees it as another disappointment. I mean,
I don't think his 2024 seat is under threat now. If he constantly provides like third place, fourth place, that's what I
It's-
think it is
Well,
expected.
I wouldn't
But
be
it-
so sure on that. Red Bull
Really?
has a tendency to just get rid of drivers if they
No, I mean
Yeah.
obviously it's never out of the question.
I
But
feel
Yeah.
like I think for this season, obviously, unless something egregious happens, obviously he's not going to get replaced right now. But I think it's more important the way he starts next season. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
I think
True.
next season, if he starts well, if he's on the podiums with Max, or if he's doing well in qualifying, I think everyone will be happy smiles. But
Yeah.
if he starts off where he left,
Yeah.
where
It could be Pierre
he's-
Gasly 2.0.
Yeah, it could be him out by the summer break. Honestly.
no, and he should be. you
Yeah,
know,
well,
like,
yeah.
Obviously.
If you have the best car on the grid and you're driving badly, you're like 10th in qualifying or 8th or something,
Yeah.
and Max is always getting poles or second, and
Yeah,
You know.
especially if next season it's a tighter fight, and
Yeah.
Perez isn't performing, that could be him out very quickly.
Yeah,
of that
because
car.
I mean, obviously they're under threat from McLaren, and McLaren having such a strong driver pairing.
Yeah,
They need the second driver.
Or even if like Ferrari gets back on form, or Mercedes, like
yeah, I
you
mean,
don't.
talking of that, which team do you think is going to challenge Red Bull next season? Do you think it's going to be that McLaren? Do you think Mercedes is going to get back in form?
I would love
I think
to
Alfa
hope-
Romeo, guys.
Oh yes, no, Haas.
Bringing Mazepin back. He's fighting for the championship.
There's
Lo-
Nicholas Latifi,
Yeah,
guys.
go Tiffy.
Oh, Latifi.
I really hope it's McLaren. If they can get their season off as
I
strongly
mean,
as
that
they are
would-
like performing now, then
It would be
That
excellent.
would be crazy because it's been forever since McLaren have been
At the front.
even
Yeah.
close to competing, you know,
Mm.
for
I-
wins, let alone the championship. And you know, a historic team like McLaren, it would be fun to see. And obviously, Norris is a fan favorite,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
who wouldn't want to see Norris? not only
Norris
get
and
his first-
Piastri, like the most beloved drivers, I think.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
widespread,
I agree.
everyone likes them.
I agree. Yeah.
Norris and Piastri.
I would love. I'm so hopeful for McLaren to get off the
Yeah.
ground running,
Uh,
but let's see. Let's
And
hope.
also, just going to put a word in there for Ferrari, just so I don't have to see Charles Leclerc suffer
yeah,
anymore.
I mean, you know,
I just feel bad for him, man.
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I have my doubts with McLaren. Obviously, I think it's more safe to bet with McLaren than Ferrari.
Yeah,
I mean,
look.
I like, you know, I love Ferrari, and I want them to do well so
yeah.
badly. I want Leclerc to not have another heartbreak every season.
Every
so,
week.
Yeah, I hope, you know, they sort out the car. They sort out.
They've just
It's
got so
sort-
many things to sort out.
Yeah, I was
All
gonna,
they have is their
Corey, I was
driver
gonna
pairing.
start listing stuff, and I was like, this is gonna be too long. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, they sort out the strategy, then what? Then they sort
The
out.
only thing they've got is like an insanely good driver pairing, and
Yeah.
nothing else of that team makes sense.
Which is sad. Really.
Yeah.
They have two great drivers, and just
Nothing to show for it.
they need, just
Well, they got one win.
Yeah, one win. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
and so many poles, guys. So many
Yeah.
poles.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I should have looked up how many poles Leclerc got this season. I mean, it's at least three or so.
Unfortunately for them, there's no championship for getting poles.
Yeah.
They could be.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Ferrari, Mercedes. Is Mercedes gonna finally fix this car that they've been
Maybe.
working on?
Like they're not horrendously far off.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I mean, but they finally got side pods after 2 years. so
Yeah,
we
they
can't
figured
really-
out that
we don't
everyone
know.
else was right
Yeah.
and side pods
This
were good.
trajectory of growth is unsure, but yeah, let's find that out.
They could. They've got the like personnel to do it. Really.
They have the
I mean-
personnel, they have the development team, they
Yeah.
have the
yeah,
experience.
that's a great point.
Yeah.
You say, you know, Mercedes, you know, coming off all those constructor wins, they have all this infrastructure. Surely they can piece together
And they have the experience.
a good shot. And
Mm.
yeah, 100%. And you know, saying that, I feel like next season or the off season it's gonna get spicy with. Do you think a lot of drivers are gonna, you know, change teams? You know, last week or the week before, you know, we were talking about, oh, is Alonso, you know, gonna be joining Red Bull or something? You know, stuff
I
like
forgot
that.
that was
Or do
the
you
silly.
think? Do you think a lot of teams are just gonna keep their driver pairings, or do you think
I think there'll be a few shuffles.
there'll be a few shuffles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure. I think you know.
I'm hoping for some. I mean, have Williams confirmed the second seat? For
Williams.
Logan? Yeah, Williams, yeah.
I don't think they have
Don't
yet.
think
They
so.
haven't yet,
Still
right?
in
So
rumours about-
that's still up for grabs.
I think
Yeah.
there's room for an F2 driver in there. To be fair,
Yeah.
I think
Maybe.
Williams could be real underdogs for next season as well because
Ooh.
they have a
I'd love that.
reasonably fast car and
They do, yeah.
Albon is in the first seat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, Alex Albon versus Red Bull Championship battle, guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
Getting my delusional hat back on.
Williams is like, you know, McLaren just older in the sense like they've been worse for even longer,
Mm.
and you know, as in a more backmarker team, and you know, it's you know, to think back on the fact that Williams, you know, they used to be a top team, and
Yeah.
it would be crazy, you know, to see these old teams, McLaren, Williams,
The old
come
god.
for real, and you know. Exactly, like you said, the old guard. Because now we've had, you know, Red Bull, you know, before Mercedes, these newer teams just winning, and you know, at least, you know, 1 or 2 race wins for these teams would be
Yeah.
crazy.
It would just
Imagine-
be great to see them up and like competing with the topper team.
100%.
Topper teams? That's not how that word
Topper
works.
team.
Because you know these are great drivers as well. As we mentioned, Albon, Norris. You know they deserve some of these wins. They deserve a better car at least. Leclerc, 100%. These poles he's pulling out. You know
He
deserves.
has the pace.
He deserves better. You know.
That's
Everyone
true.
heard that heartbreaking radio of
Mm.
you know, I'm so unlucky, and you know.
And he is.
He
He's
is,
not
yeah.
just saying that.
He
He's
really is.
so unlucky.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those, and of course have to mention it's Max's 16th win of the season.
17th
Oh,
win.
is it?
Yeah, come on.
Come
Was it
on,
17?
go on.
Keep
Yeah,
up.
17.
I didn't change it. Okay, my bad. 17th win. It's actually 17.
Yeah.
17.
He's also beaten
Christ.
Ascari's win percentage
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
season. So, and if he doesn't win the last two, I mean, it's highly unlikely, but then he will still keep that record.
No.
So,
It's also his
7.
52nd win. So
yeah.
I mean,
Halfway to
Max's
Hamilton.
wins for this season can almost drink legally in this country.
I mean, I definitely think he's gonna get at least one more win.
Two.
I think.
Two.
Two.
It's
You
happening.
think he's
It's
gonna win the
happening.
next season?
Have you seen the Las Vegas Straight?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Have you seen how much of the Las Vegas track is just full throttle? Though?
Oh yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
I mean, speaking of Las Vegas,
Yeah, of
perfect
course.
segue. Views on Las Vegas?
Oh, it looks so bad.
Terrible.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't.
Terrible.
The only thing I've seen was a picture of the pit exit.
And that already looks bad.
You know, it just looks really bad. But I mean, honestly, I was thinking about it. It's like I'm excited for it just because it's new and I haven't seen it. But of course, from what we've seen, it looks like there's gonna be so many problems, so many just not the best race. I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's just a publicity stunt.
Oh,
Yeah.
Have
I
you
mean,
seen the
everyone-
temperatures there.
Oh
Why?
yeah.
How would you tell?
Oh,
What?
yeah.
4 degrees.
4 degrees, and the coldest race ever in F1 till date was 5 degrees at the Canadian
Really?
Grand Prix. Yeah,
Jeez.
and
Huh.
it could be
Yeah.
4 degrees.
They're
Imagine.
sliding if it's 4 degrees.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sort of
And the
They keep the heat blankets
Yeah.
on the wheels. Don't even
the
bother
first
taking them
corner. They all just go swoop.
off. I mean,
the combination of the straights and the weather, it's gonna be fun to see how the
how the
drivers
drivers deal with it.
warm the tires up. Yeah,
I think that's the thing is that level of like weird curveballs could make it an interesting race, but the track by itself is not going to be doing that. I really don't think.
Yeah.
Like it just looks
plus all
very
the
dull.
all the. Have you seen what's happening in Las Vegas where they're like screening off all the walkways?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the people that live there, they
Yeah.
you know
Hey, oh man.
they
Everyone there
Yes.
hate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's interesting that the Las Vegas race is the one that everyone hates, and not like I don't know some Middle Eastern. Everyone's happy about that one.
Yeah.
Or as in like the people. You know?
I think the Middle Eastern ones aren't in like the middle of the city though.
That's true.
That's true, yeah.
I
Like-
think that's a big point. They at least for those races, they at least put some. I don't want to say effort, but like they think more logically of
Yeah.
where to put this track. Whereas in Las Vegas, it's just
I think they wanted it's going down this like down the strip like
Yeah.
iconic
oh they
place,
100%.
but
yeah,
it's like the cars go on there.
yeah or
Yeah. It,
exactly
it
like you
started
said.
with a dream.
I think 100%. Literally what Corey was saying, where I think they just thought in their head, oh, you know what sounds great, guys? A race in Las Vegas, and they were like, let's do it instead of just like,
Yeah.
oh, we want another race in United States. Let's think feasibly.
Yeah.
What's the best place? Surely there's good places.
Oh,
for-
100%.
You
It
know what
feels
I mean?
like it comes from like the PR department.
No,
We're
that's
like
exactly
get a
what I
race
was-
here.
That's exactly what I was putting on that voice. It's
Yeah.
definitely some PR or some higher thing.
Well,
Hey, guys,
It's not someone who gives.
our shareholders want
yeah,
a
well,
cool race, to bring in some more people.
yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
you saw the ticket prices like $2,000 for
Yeah.
a half decent seat.
I
Or
thought-
like 500 just to get in.
Yeah.
I thought
So-
Silverstone was bad.
No.
How
And
much
it is.
How much is Silverstone?
Oh,
What-
not cheap.
It's like 300, 400.
Yeah, 300.
really,
400.
just to get in,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
And that is
yeah, but
why-
It's a good race though. It's worth spending. the
Silverstone
money.
Yeah.
is,
Yeah,
is
but-
one of the bangers, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but it's still a lot of money,
Yeah,
man.
but, I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
That's true.
Like, I mean, I went to Silverstone MotoGP and that's like 150, and that's really bad for like
Yeah.
my bank
That's
account.
expensive.
Like it's
guys,
expensive,
come
but
on.
like that's one of the more expensive
That's
MotoGP
true.
races though, because
It is a rich person sport, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. But I'm
it's
not a rich
person
person.
to drive. It doesn't have to be a rich person to
To
watch, surely.
watch, yeah.
But but yeah. Apart from Las Vegas, we've got Abu Dhabi, which
It's a double header, isn't it? I think, yeah, the last
Same
two
back
races,
to
it's
back.
a double header, yeah.
So I think we're
Abu
not
Dhabi is a disappointing
not
end.
too looking forward to it, but there's still things to sort of look forward to, even if it's just off season with potential driver changes or even car improvements. I'm still excited to see Las Vegas, see these drivers deal with this
Yeah.
this track
This-
at the
yeah.
very least. I want to see what happens, and then Abu Dhabi, typically not much, upfront, but
Yeah.
there's always some sort of
It could be a
Yeah.
fun one. It could
Could
be a
be.
weird one.
so.
Could be, yeah.
You never know when there's going to be some weird event that ruins a whole race.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, I mean, I think we covered most of everything. You know, so it was a week after the race. So you know, we probably forgot quite a few things, but
Blame
that's okay.
blame our lecturers on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, we'll be here next week for covering the Las Vegas Grand
yeah.
Prix and then Abu Dhabi after that, and then
Yep.
hopefully we'll have some other content for you guys after the season ends. So I think unless I've missed something, I think
No,
I think so.
that's fine.
yeah. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks everyone for listening in, and yeah, goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.